Welcome to Lapeef. Let's talk. I'm here with the crew as usual. Tawana,
Hey y'all.
Anton,
What up, though?
B Nix,
Out here.
and myself, J.I. Appreciate you guys tuning in tonight. Sorry for the delay, but let's get to it. Tory Lanez and Megan Thee Stallion. Is the male credibility lost? What's up, you guys? Tory Lanez has spoken. He's finally spoken. Not all this time. How long has it been? What, about 30 days?
Yeah. Give it
Seems
a
like
minute.
Probably longer than that. Yeah, I think it was longer than that.
A
But, I
minute.
mean,
A minute.
niggas, folks had actually moved on from it. So, I mean, it had been a minute.
Did he really speak though? He told a story, but he just dropped the album. So.
Yeah, it was a nice story.
It ain't like
It was a story. It was a narrative.
Yeah.
Possibly fictional.
I guess we just ran with it. We were like Inspector Gadget, putting pieces together and stuff.
Ain't no we. I mean, hey.
Like all us. We was like, you know what? He said this on this song, so he said that. So then I'm gonna put these two things together and make a whole mission.
Hey, he had time on his hands. What is that, like 2-3 months he had to figure out how to properly put this bar together?
I think he said something about her in like all 17 songs. So I feel like it was at least one thing said about her.
Hey, he sound hurt a little bit, man. Hey, he still love her. He still love her though. That was one finding that I had that I was not anticipating. But he still love her. I mean, not to compare the two, but it's almost like when the whole Chris Brown Rihanna thing, you knew for a fact Chris Brown still loved Rihanna. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. But I think to me, I thought it was kind of somewhat both ways. In this case, I don't think it's no love lost on Megan's part. It's strictly just, hey, buddy was being vulnerable, man, over some dope beats. Over dope production. So okay.
I think he used the word infatuated, which was, he said, I mean, I feel like he definitely sound like he still got some sort of feelings for her.
Hey, well, right. Nothing's wrong with that. I say from that aspect, hey, he's being honest about the fact still love her, man. He still love her.
Hey, so before we dive into it, I just want to say when I first heard the album, I first listened to the production. It was a dope production album. It was nice. It was easy to ride to. So that was the first thing that stood out to me. And then I listened to it again just to try to understand like what exactly was going on. He definitely was telling a story. Definitely a story. I'm going to get you guys' reaction. Tawana, you had a chance to listen to it, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Outside of what you said already, like what was your like immediate reaction? Like, did you want to listen to it? Was it something that you cared for? And then if you did listen to it, like how did it really make you feel after hearing what he had to say?
I'm glad that you told me to listen to it because honestly, I only heard excerpts from the main songs, which was like the Money Over Fallout, and Bittersweet, some of the songs that were made. So I heard excerpts from that, and I just kind of was like, I don't know if I'm gonna really listen to it. And then JR was like, come on, listen to the album. So, I think initially I just feel like, everything I said before. I believe Meg was shot. I believe that because there's several documents that support that, right? So I just feel like she substantiated that fact. And I feel like, I do question if it was a direct or indirect. Like, I don't know if it was directly intended for her to be shot or indirectly intended, but she was shot, okay? Or something happened as a result of a gun. And just me being a certified conceal and carry person, I know that we are held to a higher standard. When you have a gun, like you are held to a higher standard. So you don't operate as a normal citizen. So you know that you should not be pulling your gun out unless you have an immediate threat to your life, right? So I need to hear Tory tell us that story, right? I know that he pulled the gun out or someone pulled a gun out and she, as a result, suffered a gunshot wound. Whether it was intentional or not is kind of irrelevant because I just feel like we are held to a higher standard. And I do think that he didn't really give us an explanation. Like he left me with a lot of, okay, well, you didn't shoot her. What happened? You know what I mean? Like, I understand that you didn't shoot her, and maybe you're truthful, and maybe that's an honest reaction. I do believe that they did have a romantic relationship, and I think it was a secret. And I think what he did was he kind of, dry snitch, like y'all kind of say that men shouldn't do, don't kiss and tell. That he did that. He kissed and told. He told everything because he felt like, okay, like now I got to retaliate against her. And I do feel like, there was a lot of allegations.
When did he retaliate against her? Okay. In any song, anything he ever said? He was quiet the whole time while he was getting his name killed.
I agree. I'm just giving my synopsis of what my honest reaction to the album. And I'm like I said, a few of the songs I really like. I like Queen and Slim. I felt like In the Air, Money Over Fallouts. Like, I liked a lot of his songs, actually. I mean, I thought he had, some good songs. I do feel like there's some truth to a lot of his stories. Like, there was some jealousy going on because of that Kylie, situation. And I guess he kind of, was flirting with Kylie, and Megan kind of reacted to that and I think that was part of what he said initiated this whole thing. And she was intoxicated, and he felt like, she may have gotten some of the facts wrong. So the fact that he hasn't been charged is just like a weird situation for me. I don't understand. I'm like, he hasn't been charged. We got all these allegations. The police kind of said initially that she didn't have a gunshot wound. It was like, glass. So, I mean, he has to, he's telling us some stuff. And I really felt like I understood where he was coming from, in a lot of what he said. But I don't respect the fact that he didn't tell us what happened. He didn't tell us what actually happened, and he didn't really support that. He kept saying, I did something wrong, but I didn't do what you said. And I understand there was some legal ramifications, and he explained that in Bittersweet that he couldn't talk about certain things. So I understand that, but don't put it in a song. And, I'm not Inspector Gadget. Like, I'm not about to put pieces together and figure out whether you did it or not. You're going to have to just tell me plainly, like, this is what happened and I didn't do that. Like, I don't got time to do that. So what was my honest reaction to it.
B-Nix, when you first heard the album, what did you first think about it?
I was actually listening more so for the lyrics, just because I don't really listen to Tory Lanez like that. I mean, he cool like on a feature of somebody else's song, but I wasn't really checking for his album just off top like that. So, I mean, it was intentional as to why I was listening to it. I mean, which I guess you could say from a marketing strategy, it got somebody like me who's not a fan to at least listen, you know what I mean, in order to possibly convert me to be a fan. But I feel like the situation itself, I think it's kind of immature, to be able to, tell this story, on wax, but at the same time, there is no rule to it. Then I started thinking like, well, what would have been more appropriate? Would I wanted him to sit down to have a very special interview with somebody that I wanted to sit down with Charlemagne or something like that, or go to the Breakfast Club and have like a true like interview about it? Not really, but to me, I just think that it's smoke there. I really don't. Even initially, I felt like something ain't right, not just on his part, but on her part too, and everybody that was there. I mean, when they first got arrested, the thing is, like, that was everybody's opportunity to talk. Folks didn't talk, or they just gave like very vague generalizations of what happened for whatever reasons. Maybe just because, like, hey, I'm really unclear on what happened, or I'm not trying to like, snitch on like my family that I was just kicking it with, but he is partially to blame because of the fact of his stature. And like you mentioned, Tawana, not even the fact of a person that is has a conceal and carry, but I feel like him as an entertainer, that you have to be more responsible and more mindful because of the fact that I don't know him personally, nor do I follow his lifestyle, but I'm sure he has people dependent on him to eat. And the thing is, if you fumble in the bag, then that means that you can't support or put nobody else on. You got to do better. So the thing is, I feel like maybe that's just me as a mature, older person of him. him being, my junior, that you can't operate in these spaces and put yourself at risk for something to happen. Hey, if folks have disagreements with, whoever they kicking it with or whoever they with all the time, whether they were open about it or behind closed doors. Cause I didn't know. Kadena was like, oh man, he was smashing Megan. Good for him. But then he messed that up, based on this one situation. And it's funny how in life, I feel like life is about moments, right? And much as, we all grind and we do everything we need to do, life is about moments, on how you capture these moments. And a lot of times these can be bad moments that defines that particular chapter. That this moment, this 1 or 2 sentences really is defining multiple chapters of him right now moving forward. So for me, I think it was just immature on the aspect of him putting himself in position. Because like, hey, if you drunk, why you got a gun? And if you do got a gun, why did you even brand the shit? Why is it even being you? Why did it accidentally get pulled? So, and the thing is, even in some of the lyrics, he was saying like, basically like, the people that was with him, but he still didn't give me like an answer. It's like, if you're gonna give me, you have me at like, almost like at the cusp of what I think I want to know. And then it's a cliffhanger because you still don't tell me, well, what did happen? Because now you piquing my interest again. Megan did the same thing where she alluded to things. Then finally she went on live. Mm-hmm. He criticized her for going on live throughout multiple songs.
Right.
But then it's like, okay, bro, what did happen? So the thing is, in all honesty, I don't believe neither of them. Mm-hmm. I feel it's smoke there, but I feel like it's variations of the truth. And either they don't remember or because of the fact we got to understand there's a level of maturity. They're both young entertainers that they know that their brand is at stake. And they don't know how to handle the situation, nor do their circle are they surrounded around people that can help them through it. It's almost like how we see in sports where we have a young team, but it's always that wily old school veteran that's there to work with the younger players. In the entertainment business, as far as rap, there are no old heads. And if they are old heads, they're probably there to manipulate you. And he talked about that, how he talked about Bun B and all these other people about like, hey, you my senior, but yet you didn't do this. So now you get into this back and forth. We heard about the thing with him and Ross going back and forth, So now it becomes like, oh, that's clown shit. You know what I mean? So it's like, what was the outcome? I almost would like to hear that, like almost like an outro, right? That would have been dope if folks still do outros like that, but do an outro and tell me a summation of what the purpose of this album was supposed to be like. And he didn't do that. So
like, I kind of, what was his point? Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I agree 100%.
That's my take, Jay. I mean, hey, another example of a conflicted black man and to put himself in this compromising situation that was somewhat self-inflicted. And now he big mad because folks in their feelings, because something that he did. He caused this issue. Right. Even if he didn't initiate it, he's a part of it.
I did something wrong, just not what you said. Come on now.
I ain't got time for that. I damn near don't even got time to talk about
this. Dude, tell us what you did. Period.
I don't know, Anton. Hey, I know you got something to say though, brother.
Yeah. He been waiting.
So you got the floor, brother. You got the floor.
Anton, when you first heard this album, tell me what you thought.
I thought that I'm going to go back to what I originally said when we first started having this conversation, is that everybody is quick to judge and then nobody waits for the facts. Nobody is considerate of the idea that these are still human beings. And then when you compound that with the idea that once he starts talking about what he can talk about, because we also have to take into consideration, we still don't know some things. It's still an open case. You don't know who's going to be in a certain situation and whose life is dependent upon what happens as it relates to the outcome of this case, even if it's not him specifically, right? Because we still not taking into consideration that these people are human. And so when you take away all of the glitz and the glam and the popularity and what they do for a living and all of that, you have to, when you start putting in the idea that these people are human, we're not taking a reasonable position as it relates to the circumstance and situation. I don't see anybody coming back and saying, man, I should have waited because it might not have been what it seemed, but we automatically just place women on a pedestal and say, hey, she said it, so it must be real. Like, nobody ever comes. It's almost like it reminds me of a lot of these cases that I follow where these guys and these college students and some of these professionals, they get accused of something that wind up being false. And then nobody comes back and says, you know what? Why did she do that? Or why did she lie? Or how come she didn't tell the full truth? Or how can we vindicate this guy? He's already convicted in the court of public opinion. And it's unfortunate because that's how we've trained ourselves to operate in this society. It's foolish, it's stupid, it's immature of us to automatically assume based off of what we think we know and then say, well, why didn't he tell us fully, not considering all of the circumstances and the situation behind it? I think that he told us as much as he could tell us and also addressed a lot of the hypocrites. And that's one of the main things that I got away from the album is that it's a lot of people. And he highlighted people within the industry that are hypocrites, such as when B. Nick said Bun B. It's the same guy that if you look at the overwhelming majority of his catalog, profited, included his biggest song, which is Big Pimpin', that perpetuated the exact same thing that he's preaching against. So I don't want to hear nobody anymore jumping to conclusions unless they're going to come back afterwards and say, you know what, I shouldn't have did that. You know what, we shouldn't be convicting people in the court of public opinion and we should wait till all the facts get out. And then on top of that, the biggest thing for me is, why are we placing these chicks on a pedestal? Like Megan Stallion, I know chicks in real life that's badder than her. Like just on a regular basis. Like, so because he smashed her, that's supposed to be an accomplishment? That don't mean nothing to me. She ain't nothing to me. Like to real dudes.
Hey, I do give that brother props. That buddy like about 5'1", so I do get him some.
Because what you said was,
hey, you brought your A game
no,
for that.
He's 5'7" in his song. He said he 5'7".
Sure, whatever.
Like let's put that straight.
Said, and then he messed that up. Like, was that a privilege? You know what I'm saying? Like, that's a dime a dozen.
It's on his text afterward.
You're getting away from the real point.
His text is damaging.
The real thing that comes along with this is most of these people are wrong to automatically jump to conclusions and automatically pick.
Well, and I don't think that I jumped to conclusions. I felt like I did.
I mean, I feel like honestly, both of them are at fault. So I mean, I know that we're talking about.
That's my thing. I'm not even saying she's wrong for anything other than not telling the full truth if you were going to go on live and have the conversation. Because what he's saying is that's not even accurate. That's not even the full truth.
It might not be. Also,
he's not saying that I don't have something to say. He's saying that hold off and let convict in the public opinion before y'all got all the facts.
Right.
Well, I agree, but you know what? Honestly, like we got to also think about it. Like I still hold him partially responsible. I hold him partially responsible. Huh?
What happened?
Oh, for putting himself in the position.
So
he put himself in that position. If Megan put himself in that position,
that part you gotta do better.
So context don't matter. If you go to the store and that store get robbed,
do better.
You wind up being on camera as a result of being in there when the store get robbed, and people automatically jump to the conclusion and say B. Nix was there, so he shouldn't have been there. I hold you responsible for being in that situation in the first place. Is that accurate?
Yep.
I mean, I think that's a reality for me. I am looking at it like, shoot, I knew I should have just went straight to the crib.
You're unknowing.
If anything, I knew I should have had an Uber. I knew I should have left that party. I knew I shouldn't have went to that party. I knew I shouldn't have been on BS. I knew I should have made it clear. Or you know what? I knew I should have told the truth when the cops did come. I mean, all that. It's so many different scenarios.
He blamed everybody else.
No, you don't know what happened.
He blamed everybody else for formulating an opinion because they didn't call him, they didn't reach out to him.
Well, the thing is, you know what?
That was his whole entire album.
I remember that. I forgot which song, but he said that and stuff when he was going off like, sorry, I got something, whatever the name of the song was. Sorry, whatever. Sorry, but I had to.
That was a good one.
Sorry, but I had to. So the thing is, it's like, shame on you for really thinking these your friends. It's like, I got people I work with. If I don't hit you up, if I don't call you on your phone, we not squad like that. So shame on him.
Let me tell you, my friends ain't gonna speak out about me shooting somebody unless they talk to me.
And what I say all the time, men automatically get convicted in the bad end of the stick when it comes to any circumstance and situation. Women become the victim.
I don't think that's fair because they did judge him. They did judge Megan. A lot of people said she was lying.
And it's imbalanced.
Bro, no, I feel like there are people, and I'm one of those people. I didn't believe.
Hold on, you guys. One person at a time. One person at a time. One person at a time.
Nobody is looking at them as equal human beings and saying, let's wait till the facts come out. They automatically say, he's wrong. Let's give sympathy to her and don't even know the whole circumstance and situation. So I maintain the exact same position that I had when we first started having this conversation a long time ago, weeks ago, and that I am not going to automatically say he's wrong at all because I don't know the whole story. And
it's not a gender issue. It's not a woman and man.
We never will know the whole issue.
It's a credibility issue. He never.
You don't even listen to Tory Lanez. What you mean?
He never publicly.
He ain't never been in no trouble ever in his life. What credibility issue do we have?
Well, he obviously was too infatuated with this woman and got himself involved in a situation that he can't get out of.
You still make assumptions. It don't have nothing to do with credibility. He's never did anything.
It's a credibility issue. He should have spoke out. He should have said something directly. You don't speak through real. You don't expect nobody to respect you because you said something.
What they say is you have the right to remain silent. You be quiet until the case is over, and then you have the conversation.
But now he has no choice.
He don't have. How do he not have a choice? He still ain't talking. He's still not telling all of the details because there's people's lives in the balance. It doesn't matter about what.
That's what I said. You're not listening. I said he has no choice. He can't speak out now.
With who? He's never done anything wrong. How do we automatically kill somebody's character and say he got a credibility?
But he himself said, I did something wrong, just not what you said.
Right. That could be anything. That could be I did something wrong as far as trying to talk to Kylie when I was there with you at the party and you invited me.
You don't know what it is.
About that. That don't have nothing to do with crime.
The fact is she was hurt. The fact is there was
hurt every day. That ain't got nothing to do with it.
There was gun shells in her foot. The facts remain. They remain. So what do you do?
Unreasonable, bro. And
but I mean, you almost not to say it's comical, but you got to say like, hey, she got shot. Whether it was accidental, whether it was somebody from their entourage, whether he did a no look, whether he was really playing, making a tap dance.
Ain't nobody automatically. Megan named him as the shooter. He named him as the shooter.
It could be anything. What if she went and grabbed the gun and made a mistake and shot herself? Hypothetically. What if a lot of circumstances happen?
We should find out. This is just one component
you know what the
of
real
the story.
problem is, Phoenix?
What's up?
Nobody is gonna come back and say, "Dang, I apologize, T. I apologize, Tory, for assuming."
I guarantee they will.
It would. Like going back to what we were talking about earlier, for his real ones, for his real ones.
Name me real people in history that has ever happened when somebody did something wrong, or they assume that somebody did something wrong, and then people apologize and made up.
It's a part of me, Anton, that feels like, who cares if these not your real friends anyway? Right. Why should I even care? And be
because this is the same. If it can happen to him, it happens to regular, everyday guys, and
I agree.
In the court of, that's why I care. You asked the question, who cares? I care because it's not right, bro, and it happened to guys every single day.
I don't like, because the thing is, if there's something, let's say if I was in that situation, I got to look and reflect on what I did, on how I could have handled the situation better for the future. But for people, I can't control what other people do or think. And that's the thing. That goes back to your own internal locus of control. I can only control my own destiny.
You can't even control your own destiny. Because if you're in the wrong area with the wrong person that you don't know, she can automatically say anything and accuse you of anything without you even doing anything wrong. You don't have control over that, is my point. And that when we continue to have these conversations and these same narratives come up on a regular basis, you can't automatically assume that she deserves sympathy. And why did she get back in the car if she felt so unprotected? He spoke about that. Why did she get back in
that? But I didn't hear that. I don't know that that's true.
Oh my God, dog.
That's just his account of what happened.
I mean, it's his opinion.
He was drunk too. What happened?
I mean, it's his opinion. I mean, I'm not saying like I think I want to be clear. My interpretation of the situation from his vantage point is not now supporting her vantage point. It's not binary like how you trying to make it out to be.
It's not binary at all. That's not even the purpose.
I feel sorry.
You always try to paint women as some other person.
I feel sorry for men.
This women
right now.
Megan
not to be put. Hey, fellas. These chicks are not to be put on a pedestal. That's why we treat them the way that we treat them, because they put
I'm not going to say that, Anton. Because I'm going to say like folks need to
one at a time.
Really, JR? Okay.
No, that's the reason why I'm saying it. Because if you actually hear it, it's coming in. You can't really hear what you guys saying when you all talking.
Yeah, I know. I heard Anton.
I heard him clear as day.
Okay. All right. Well, let's go bring me to my next question, which is the actual album. Do you feel that he was wrong for speaking out on the album? Because a lot of people said that they felt as though he was trying to make money off this whole situation. So, do you feel by him expressing his thoughts on the album was an issue for you?
You know what? Initially, my very gut, when I heard he did an album, before I listened to it and really kind of understood, like, okay, like, oh yeah, this is a money grab. This is like attention seeking, because we see entertainers do stuff like this all the time. Not this particular example, but they do create momentum in order to gain attention and streams and likes and relevance. But the thing is, you know, like I told you, as I started listening to the album, it's like, okay, I'm gonna still listen to him as an artist, but it's one of those like, well, what? No one could answer like, well, what is the proper vehicle in which he should have communicated this information? Was it supposed to be in court, like live, which isn't going to happen because none of them gave like authentic stories when they were apprehended. So that opportunity to really have that day in court or through the legal system is really kind of flawed unless it's some civil suit or some shit. So the thing is like, if anything, was Megan, because the fact she gave her perception of the story through live, is that like better than an album? So it's like, who are we to now say what's the proper vehicle to communicate information? So to me, hey, if that man feels that putting it on wax is a safe space for him to be able to provide his interpretation of what happened over dope beats, so be it. If she felt that through live, weeks later, that's the space in which she felt more comfortable to state it, fine, so be it. To me, it's just their opinion, man. Honestly, I don't care. Like, I care, but I don't care like that. It's one of those, like, it's way too much other stuff I got going on to really worry about two individuals that not really being truthful right now because of, oh, well, case is still pending, or well, I was slightly tipsy, so I can't recall the whole information. If anything, can we talk to somebody that's not Megan or Tory Lanez? Where are the people that was actually there, those other two individuals that he referenced and that she was aware of when we saw the video of them getting arrested, with them having to, like, man, be face down on the ground? Yeah, it's like, I'm sure what they gonna come out with a book, and then we're gonna say like, oh, well, they shouldn't have came out with a book. They waited too long for the book. Like, what is the proper vehicle to communicate such an issue? Right. We would never know the true story, in all honesty.
Anton, how do you feel about him releasing an album? Do you think that's an issue? The possibility he can make money off of it?
I think that different people vent in different ways. And I think that, you know, the way in which he chose to deal with this particular issue, he would prefer to put it, you know, in the way in which he's most talented. He packaged it in a way to where he felt like it would best paint the picture and how he wanted to communicate and say what he wanted to say. And I honestly, I'm a big fan of Tory Lanez. I think he's one of the most talented songwriters of this younger generation. And I love a lot of the stuff that he's done. And I thought that it was very well put together and spoken, in which he was able to address a lot of people in a controlled space to where he wouldn't be out of his element, and he can speak it the way that he wanted to speak it without it being convoluted with somebody else's narrative or a way in which he didn't feel comfortable talking. So I thought it was awesome. I thought it was dope. And I thought it was the perfect platform for him to speak and address mostly a lot of people that he felt like was on his team and took advantage of a lot of his talent, mainly because a lot of these same people that he spoke to and addressed are benefiting and profiting off of him and what he does for a living anyway. So I thought that it was the perfect platform for him to address how he felt about the situation, considering the circumstances and the fact that he can't speak extensively about something that is possibly still an open case for other people that may get in trouble as a result of it.
Tawana, how did you feel about him releasing it in the album?
I mean, I think that it's good that he used his platform to humanize himself, because I do agree with him that, people didn't understand like that there were two sides to the story, right? And jumped to a lot of conclusions and attacked him. But what I think he failed in was really telling us what truly happened and using that platform to really put the true narrative out there. And I don't understand, why he decided to, just kind of out their love story and out their whole entire journey, due to this whole entire situation, and kind of, gain sympathy from us. And I felt like, a lot of people took that. It doesn't take away his credibility. And he had some amazing songs. And obviously, like B Nick said, some of the beats were cold. And I enjoyed his poems, and I can really appreciate his music without appreciating the platform and the way he decided to, talk about this incident. He tried to kind of minimize it, and he tried to gloss over it, and I don't respect it. So that's just my opinion.
What's kind of funny is that even though Megan was the victim, she released her statement by going on live, and nobody criticized her. So the question that I have, I'm sorry, what was that?
No, I mean, I criticized her initially, but go ahead. I mean, I want you to finish your story.
Yeah, it was. A few people did, but the majority people seemed like they just listened, and then Tory Lanez automatically became, he had a target on his back. So my question that I have is the male credibility lost? Be next.
Give me a little bit more context. Like lost in a sense of being in these situations, or just as being a man, you have no credibility, or?
Yeah, well, like when I give you an instance.
Men versus women. When it comes to women and what they say, as a result of how things have gone in society for as long as they have, is men's credibility automatically killed based off of the accusations and this situation that we just seen played out?
Exactly.
The question was, have we lost it, right?
Yeah.
I don't think we ever had it. Like, that's the thing. You got to have it to lose it. I feel like what we're competing against is just historical culture of how these situations play out. We talked about this in previous shows about rape culture, right? Where we say like, hey, a man rapes a woman, but a woman can't rape a man. It can be done, but guess what? We don't receive it that way. So, I mean, if we're talking about it from that particular angle, no, we don't have any credibility, whether right or wrong. But I mean, I'm not saying it's actually okay, but knowing the reality of the situation, and maybe as a man, I do have to hold him to a higher standard that I want to say, like, bro, you got to know better. You got to do better. And the thing is, I think that we've all been in situations that we have to understand the space in which we operate in, that we may have to move different. We move different when we go to certain states, certain towns, interact with certain family members, certain people, work at certain jobs. And you know what? I've had conversations with friends of mine because of the aspect of what I'm speaking to is kind of like code switching, right? Where I remember I had a friend of mine that says, like, you know what? He doesn't believe in code switching. And he feels like that has always been the downfall of us as Black folks, because we feel that we do have to switch up, right? But I mean, I admit I am from the mindset that I feel like you do have to be adaptive and flexible in certain spaces. So, I mean, what Anton, I know, is going to speak about, which is the true injustice of being a man in certain spaces. But I do feel that like you do need to adapt and act accordingly in certain spaces. We see this like even you know, in the political aspect of the world, where it's like when someone says, "Oh, you need to act presidential," it's like, well, define that. You know, it's kind of like according to whose standards and norms. We see things that are being broken down, but right now, where we're at in our society, he has to do better because the thing is, it is a level of bias. But the thing is, because of that, it's like, hey, you know, regardless, some people even joked online, like, hey, technically Megan has more size and probably more strength than him, jokingly speaking. So she could probably take him down, honestly. But at the end of the day, he's still a man of power, and he put himself in a very vulnerable situation, whether right or wrong. I feel like he can't operate in that space, even if it's not this situation. But if something like this was to happen again, my only hope is that, and taken away from his album, is like, these are lessons. These are very hard lessons that people have to learn. And I feel like in that regard, men are the minoritized group in which we don't have the leverage. We are treated with a level of bias based on just cultural norms, based on the our society before we were even born. But, you know, to your point, you got to have it in order to lose it. In those spaces of men and women, as far as what happened, what didn't happen, because this actually plays into the whole I forget the name of it, what Protect Black Women movement, right? And the thing is, I feel like this may not be one of those good examples, but I think it does kind of dovetail a little bit into, you know, that population of people as well, to feel like, hey, well, she wasn't protected. That as a man, why would you even have a gun to brandish to a woman? Now, the thing is, I could say that honestly, why should he have to brandish that gun to another man? You know, like, I'm still in the mindset, like, he shouldn't have had it anyway. It could be a group of dudes. It could be dudes night out. Why are you drunk with the gun on you, brandishing the gun? And if you didn't have the gun, cool. We will soon find out. But the thing is, him, based on his stature, he got to do better. You can't put yourself in these situations, whether he's right or wrong. I feel that he's wrong from the aspect of he needs to do better. As an example, as a role model, as all the things that he says that he's aspiring to be or thinks that he already is. Guess what? This is an example in which he was not a model citizen. And whether he was right or wrong, he was in the space. It's almost like just saying like, hey, you know what? I'm around a bunch of people that like to rob people, right? I don't rob, but I hang with them. It's like, I can't even be in that space. It's like, I got to remove myself. Even if that's squad, I got to remove myself from that situation. We see it with drug dealers. We see it with people who got addictions. It's like, I can't even operate in that circle no more because I'm not part of that. So the thing is, by him entertaining this nightlife lifestyle of being able not to just kick it, but he's one of them type of people that kick it, gets drunk and gets into trouble and gets arrested. Got to do better. And he's typecasting himself because you know what? We've heard this type of situation with how many rappers, men or women. It's like, that's the thing. It's like folks want to live this rock star life. And then when shit does go wrong, when keeping it real goes wrong, right? Then now you I almost want to say now you crying. Both of them crying. Meg was crying on live. He crying over wax. It's like, I don't got time for no grown. Like, you grown, but now you're not grown. You adult. You adult. And now like, oh, you Bun Beast Jr. Like now, like, oh, now you're a child again. You can't have it both ways, man. You can't be scared about the consequences that happen from your own actions, whether he pulled the trigger or not. He was in the space, and you know what? This would have been very telling as a mature adult. If he didn't do it, he could have just simply told the cops who did it. Wow. And this all could have been put to bed. But you know what? Now we saying like, oh no, we can't do that.
No tricking.
Yeah, we can't. He complained.
It's the no tricking rule.
On one of the songs about like, oh, I got rappers basically telling the cops on them. So the thing is, they're like, no, we can't tell the truth. Rappers don't do that. According to who standards.
Of somebody that would not do the thing that he's advocating that this other man should do. If you and JR was sitting in a situation and something happened and you got assumed that they thought it was you, and you have the opportunity to later prove that it wasn't you, but you not trying to throw JR under the bus, you telling me you're gonna automatically say, yo, JR did that, man.
You know, I got a response for that. I got a response, right? But the thing is, this goes back to support my example. Based on where we at in our points in our life, I would have did that shit and lied. Like if that shit was even like a few years ago, right? Especially when we was growing up. B Knicks right now, I wouldn't even fucking kick it with JR if I knew what
That's
the
not
fuck
what I
he
asked.
on.
Would you immediately say, yo, JR did that?
No, I wouldn't have been in the space to have to tell anything. That's the thing. I wouldn't have to say it. I would have been right here at my crib. That's why I don't go out. It's too it's too many things to risk. I can't mess this up.
Because he's holding somebody else to a higher standard than he would hold himself.
And I hold myself to a higher standard. And because of that, I can't move the same way that I used to move.
Well, you should have said,
people can't answer the question because they don't.
Should have said somebody else shot her, not me.
No, I'm not going to jail, bro. Like, hey, if JR did it, I got too much to lose for this man. And not that I got to hope has the same loyalty to me.
It's a simple yes or no. Would you do it or not? The very fact that you even got to think about it,
I would have to.
Unreasonable.
No, I would have to.
You have to.
I would have to. I know. That's sad, right? As a black man, I'm saying I was on my brother.
The point that I'm making is that
the fact you put you in that situation.
I got too much to lose, man. I can't. I'm sorry, JR. I know you my brother, but that's why I can't kick it with folks.
Don't put me in that situation. Don't put me in that situation.
Well, you can't say you can't kick it with folks because you do go out.
It's true. I can't.
And things can happen. I mean, things happen in a given moment.
No, I don't. Hey, I don't do well.
It could be on the way
I don't
home.
do spur of the moment situations no more. I
don't.
I
got the strap. He talking about things can happen one day.
Right, things can happen at any given moment.
Hey,
any given moment, we could be out.
You gotta keep the burner on you while we going out just to go to somebody's crib. Nah, man. Don't even pick me up. Let me even drive my own car. And JR knows this. I don't even like driving with people.
Yeah, I don't even think that's a question about people asking if you strapped or not. If you hop in the car with me and we go on a brunch,
do you have your conceal and carry card? Do you have your FOIA card?
As long as it's concealed.
Nobody's asking that question.
No, it is layers to it. I have to ask those questions now because old B Knicks would have been like, shit. I mean,
now because we got this podcast, but
no more. I need to know
prior,
if you got papers on this. Prior to
this podcast, I say, Knicks, come on, let's go to this brunch. You know, it's gonna be the guys. We're gonna go kick it. All right, I'm Slatter. You come pick you up.
Man, no, for one,
we sit down, eat, have a good time as we exiting the brunch.
Okay, all right, you had me.
You start shooting at me like cowboy. I think his.
No, I'm an Uber. I'll Uber in a heartbeat.
Yeah, but when they did the investigation, the place next door, they looked at footage and they saw that he was with 3 other guys. They couldn't see exactly what happened, but they seen 3 other guys with him, and they got a clear description of your face. Mm-hmm. They knock at your door. We need to speak with you for a second. So the pressure is on. I don't know what you're talking about. I know what you're talking about. They come the next day. They got pictures. What you gonna do?
You know what? Present day B Knicks. I gotta sing. Hey, I can't fuck this up. Like, man, I gotta sing, man.
Yo, B Knicks, I don't ever you on.
No respect lost either.
Yeah, that's why I don't go out.
You got a whole.
Or if I do, I'm riding solo dolo. I'll meet you there.
You got a whole family.
So you're not gonna call me at all? You're not gonna call me at all? You know, tell me what's going on. Tell me they came up to your house.
Nah, we ain't got shit to talk about no more.
Oh my god.
Knicks.
Like you got a whole chick.
Right.
You get no more.
No, so the thing is, it's cool for me to take an L because of you, some grown man. That's the thing. Like,
automatically assuming that you taking an L.
Because the thing is, I gotta understand the climate of the situation. Why put myself at risk?
You know, but you don't even know how much information they have. They didn't even see
you asking the question from very skewed manner. You already coming in because you think that what I'm supposed to say is that I'm a lie because you my brother. And guess what? Both thy ass get locked up.
Nothing.
Yeah, you had to say nothing.
Dude, come on, man. You black in America. You
Oh
guilty.
my God, bro.
Oh, let me guess. You dependent on the legal system, Anton. You still have faith.
That's
the thing
what
is,
I don't need to have faith. I got a lawyer. I can bond out. I know how to operate. I don't have to
Anton, this is what we always differ. You're speaking from a privileged mindset of somebody that has money to get a lawyer. Everybody don't got money for no lawyer. You're gonna get a public defender just like anyone else.
You assuming that you're getting arrested. All he doing is asking you a question. If they had,
we're seeing how this go down, man. He asked a question. I'm gonna give him the answer.
That's right.
That's it. Then I shouldn't give him the answer. I should do exactly like what Meg and Tory Lanez did. Make up some dumb shit and then just keep this lie going. Be like, fuck all y'all. The cops even just like, fuck it, whatever. Then it's like, well, technically it didn't happen like that. I ain't trying to have them type of stories, man.
Hey, like with this whole situation,
I forget. No,
hold on, Tawana.
Disappointed in my answer. I get it, and I'm not even looking on the
I want to answer the credibility.
Hey, you know what? Hey, anybody listening, don't come kick it with me, then.
That's right.
No, hey, don't even hit my line.
I'm a trick.
No, and I ain't got no new friends either. So, hey, I am who I am. I'm cool with that. I'll be right here.
Guys, I want to ask this question. All right, it's a lot of situations that's been going on lately, and they've been talking about protecting Black women, that women are not protected. And I just wanted to ask you guys, do you feel like that protecting Black women is being used loosely, that term? Tawana?
Man, you went
now,
straight.
You know I got in trouble with the live.
I'm gonna jump in just to play leadoff hitter with this question.
You can't do that.
You know what? I got in trouble with the last podcast for that. But
it's not about it's your own honest opinion.
It is. It's my own honest opinion. I do feel like the term is not clearly defined. So
operational definition of that.
Sometimes people mean physical protection. Sometimes they mean emotional protection. And everyone has their idea of what protection means. Do I think that Tory Lanez, in this incident is an example of Black women not being protected? No. I feel that they have a specific circumstance that was domestic violence related, and like we need to keep it in the lane that it's in. I don't believe that we should be trying to add that as an example and trying to draw off that. But a lot of women do. So I want to respect people's opinion. I do think that sometimes protection is not defined clearly, and sometimes it can be difficult for men to understand. And I think that our audience is men. When we're telling you Black women are not protected, in my opinion, the audience is men. So if the audience is men, it's like, what's the goal here? Are we trying to get men to protect us, or are we trying to, help make sure we're on the same page? And if you have a different idea of what protection means, because I don't think that jumping in front of a bullet in front of me is protection. I don't know if that's how women see it. Like a man gonna protect the stranger that he don't know, or a woman that he never met in his life. I don't know if that's what my idea of protection is. But do I think that men shouldn't degrade us? Dehumanize us, talk about us as if we don't have, a place in this world, discredit us. I think that all of those things are a lack of protection, in my opinion. Anytime you're criticizing Black women, just, going off, talking about us in a negative way, even racializing us, because that's what a lot of people do. They racialize us based on the experience of another woman. And they will say, oh, all Black women do this, or this is how Black women are, and it's like, that's not even protection, because we are all different. We all are diverse. We all have different ways that we, go through life, different experiences. And so nobody wants to be, dehumanized. Nobody wants to be discredited. So yeah, I do think that to answer your original question, JR, I do think that, it is used too loosely sometimes. And because there's so many different definitions, it can get lost. And so the actual focus gets lost.
Yeah, I mean, I hear you. And the thing is, like, I want to be clear, like, I'm support anybody's movement. We've seen it with the Me Too movement, the Black Lives Matter movement, the of course, the LGBTQ plus community with their movements. I mean, even locally, how they trying to like strip the name Boys Town and stuff, you know, because it still like speaks to male privilege. You call it Boys Town, so it's talking about really being homosexual as a man. Yeah, it doesn't really validate a woman that's homosexual. So I get folks' movements, you know, but I mean, I think people just need to be open-minded that there is alignment to all of this. You know, there is a intersection with it, but I think that we get caught up into this competition, us as just human beings, where whose movement has the biggest momentum that's happening right now. How can I reach in order to add more momentum to it? I think sometimes people reach. I've seen it even reach where, you know, people have gotten upset where we talk about Black Lives Matter movement, and then now we have Black lives that are people that are homosexual, which is fine, you know, LGBT plus movement. But then there's a divide now. Like, well, this is not your movement. You're trying to ride the wave of our movement. It's like, wow. The thing is like, think about who's orchestrating all this. I still feel white men are still viewed as the true. Yeah.
Nick,
can you hear me? Yeah.
I don't think you answered the question yet. Do you feel like that term? Okay. Do you feel like that term?
Fine. What's the question?
Protecting Black women is being used loosely.
I don't
yes
know.
Or no?
No, I don't think it's a yes or no. Again, it's not binary.
We always try to say yes or no. Yes or no. Pick a side.
Bro, no, because I don't like being boxed in. I mean, y'all try to do this every show. It's like, dude, everything in the world is not black and white, man. It's not. Y'all make if shit was black and white, the world would be so easy to live in.
It's very complicated. I'm not saying everything is black and white.
That's
specifically this question. I'm asking you this question in your honest opinion.
No, you know what? See, this is what you do.
Protecting Black women.
Low key, I just gave you an answer, but yet my answer still did not meet what you wanted me to say, and you do this to me every time. Every time I ask a question.
Okay, I'm gonna go to Anton.
Move on to Anton.
And I'm gonna come back to you. I'm gonna come back to you. I'm gonna see if Anton can say something that might, you know, kind of make you choose a side.
Might be what you want him to say?
No, what was
basically.
Anton, the question was, is protecting.
You heard that question like 3 times, man. You know, with every person with the same question.
You heard
it already.
Is it being used loosely, that term?
Yes, it's being used absolutely more loose than any time in history.
Hold on. Nick, so
anytime in history. Oh, this is his
I'm assuming you don't agree, right? Go ahead, Anton.
You already assumed that I didn't when you asked me the question, obviously. So go ahead.
Well, you couldn't answer it yes or no, so I just assumed that you didn't agree with it.
It's not a yes or no answer.
Nobody's judging you. Nobody's going to jump down your throat.
I gave the fucking answer.
It's a yes or no. No, you didn't give an answer.
Dude, I'm not giving you a yes or no because it's not a yes or no answer.
Tawana, I don't think I got your answer, or at least I can't recall it. Do you feel like the term is being used loosely? Yes or no?
I said yes.
Okay.
And I explained why I said yes.
Wait, you did. I appreciate that. I appreciate that.
Anton, shut up real quick.
Shut
up real quick. Hey, no, JR.
Nick, you had the opportunity. Nick, you had the opportunity.
I'm going right back to you now. It's not. I've noticed it's not all this whole time. You're right. You're goddamn right. The thing is, this whole time I thought it was about Anton. It's not even about you, because you pulling the fucking strings with these fucking questions. So the thing is, you tell me what's your thoughts then, huh? Since my answer is not sufficient. Because the thing it is complicated, because you could ask each individual person, is it used too loosely? Yes and no. It's all situational. Life is situational. So the thing is, JR, you answer your own goddamn question and you tell us what you feel.
I do feel like it is situational, but I do also feel like, yes, it is being used loosely. I've been hearing it, everything that comes up when it comes to a woman. And I'm not saying that it's not not supposed to be that way, but I just feel like every situation doesn't have to be protect the woman.
You know what? I agree with that, but the
especially if you don't have all the facts. People,
you know what? You know how many white people sitting around saying the same thing about the Black Lives Matter movement, saying like everything is Black Lives Matter.
Yeah,
I agree. I agree with that too.
So the thing is, I can't sit up here and say it's used too loosely. 'Cause I know for a fact, and again, no shade to anyone in particular, but there are people who are not black that are sitting around having the same conversation saying, hey, they keep using this Black Lives Matter too loosely, or they talking about people getting shot too loosely. It's like, so now all of a sudden this negates what's happening, like as if it's not.
No, it doesn't. I'm just talking about the term. Like, I think each situation has to be right. The term is real, but each situation has to be looked at, and then you have to kind of get all the facts first, and then you make that determination.
So if you just said we got to get all the facts first, and I just told you it's not a black and white answer. It's not a yes or no answer, and we don't know all the facts. So now I got to give you a yes or no answer.
Talking about in general.
You don't got all the facts.
I was talking about in general, not just particularly about Megan and Tory, but just in general. Do you feel like everything that's been going on, have you been hearing that term used loosely?
But now he want all the facts, though. Like, now he
this nigga said all the facts. He just said that. That's what I'm trying to tell you. He said, like, we got to get all the facts first. It's like, hello. That's why I said it's situational. And then now this man just said we don't got all the facts, but yet he know for a fact, allegedly, that is being used loosely.
Listen, y'all, this is not.
This should be on a presidential debate, bro, because he is skirting around all of the questions and he's not answering it, and then he'll go to something.
No, it's not. It's not used loosely. All right.
Like,
no, it's not.
Like
this whole protect black women movement. I'm sorry, but we're not gonna just call every instance attack on black women. Sometimes, come on now, like Megan, she lied to the police. She lied to the police. Like, come on, we gotta talk about that.
Thank you.
The police came and she didn't tell the truth, and then on top of that, you extremely intoxicated, and then you got all these issues, and then you want to get on live before you even file a charge against this man. So see, I can't respect that. So I'm not about to sit here and call every movement an attack on black women.
But see, this is what's wrong with our society. Because the thing is like we marginalize these movements to like one or two situations. And the thing is, you know what? If you want to really think about it, I look at protect black women from the aspect of why can't black women be in leadership roles? Why can't black women be a councilman? Why can't they be the fucking president? Why can't they be a senator? All these certain aspects when you say protect black women, the thing is, that's why I say it's not a yes or no answer, because what context in which we're speaking about this, you know what I mean? Everybody, like Tawana just mentioned, is this a domestic situation? Is this a workplace situation? Is this within the relationships? Is this a family situation? Hierarchy, pay grade? Because you think about it, women are still black, white, whatever. They still are not paid to the same dollar as men. So the thing is, all this shit is situational. So the thing is, if you want to ask me that, give me some fucking context and stuff, man. Don't sit up here and make me make this blanketed yes or no when it's bigger than that.
Related to the whole Mega Stallion and Tory Lanez situation. That was everything led up to that question. That was the context. But now you're trying to act like that wasn't context so that you can skirt around the question, and then you want to bring in all of
one situation, bro. I set up here. We done set up here like 45 minutes talking about this Tory Lanez met the Stallion situation. I just said I blame both of them. So then it ain't even wrong, right? Yeah. I don't like both of them is in the wrong, right? They have a role to play.
Right,
but you know what, Anton? Go ahead. Say your piece, brother. Go ahead.
Yes, JR. What's up?
Yeah, hey, we're gonna end it on that note. Do you feel like they both was wrong?
Absolutely. There's 100% accountability for both Megan for lying to the police, for her entire way she has presented this information through live instead of, going through the proper channels. And then also with Tory not really being forthcoming about what his involvement was in this entire scheme. And I think that is super crucial to this entire thing. It's like they both kind of don't take accountability. I just need to, hear both sides and then kind of dissect it from there. I feel like it's a domestic situation, and I think we should treat it as a domestic situation. And I think that it's just like totally separate from this entire movement of protect black women.
Anton, you feel like they both was wrong?
No, I don't feel like they was both wrong at all. I don't think that either one of them is wrong up to this point, because I don't think that there's enough information for me to be able to make that determination. And the thing about me is that I'm consistent on both ends. I don't think she was wrong, and I don't think he was wrong yet, because I don't know what happened, because I don't think any of the real details have come out yet. And when they do, if they ever do, then I'll make my determination. But until then, I never assume that anybody is anything other than what they say or what's been proven to be true. I never make an assumption. So no, I don't think either one of them is wrong at this point.
Can I make a point of clarity? Because the thing is, I want it to be known, and I mentioned this earlier, that I blame both of them, not because of who got shot, but being part of that situation. The thing is, you can't just sit up here and walk away from like, oh, I don't know what happened. You was part of the situation. Either you was the actual aggressor, the victim, or the witness. It's three sides to that story. So the thing is, folks had the opportunity to go through a formal process when they got arrested of what happened, who did what. You had your opportunity. You missed it. Both of y'all. So the thing is, if anything, both of them need to just go on and just focus on their music. But the thing is, you want to have it both ways, right? You don't want to talk to the people who actually can help you, but yet you want to talk to thousands of strangers, you know, that you don't know personally, and then be mad at these people that you don't know personally because they talking about you.
Bingo.
That's the part, like, I can't rock with that. So the thing is, you know what? As an entertainer or anybody in a public position, you got to do better. Because the thing is, you're putting yourself in your situation. Because the thing is, they got family too. So the thing is, now you got your family having to answer, having to be accountable for what you did because you're a public figure. That's added stress, extra drama. And the thing is, it could have been avoided. So the thing is, my only thing is that I truly don't care, nor I don't think we'll ever get the full raw story. But the thing is like, I just hope for the both of them, they both got to do better. They still black individuals that's in the entertainment industry. So the thing is, if they really want to sustain that level of success, they got to do better. You can't be negligent. You can't be immature. And that's the thing. I'm blaming them not on the situation at hand of who shot who, but the fact they put themselves in that situation. I do fault them for that.